It's widely appreciated that the content of our dreams relies upon the information we receive. I have a son who's going to be 2 soon, and he is just full of so much energy, and he, I'm sure, feels like he can just walk on water. Sometimes when I look at him, I think to myself, where does that change? And I feel like over time, as we get older, the more responsibilities you have, the less you're able to dream. You have these milestone moments that it's like, okay, when you go into school, they kind of limit you and start to say, okay, let's look at the curriculum and let's start to grade you, and that shows how good you are. But as a girl, it's even earlier than that. It's like the moment you come out of the womb, they've already bracketed you into this is what we expect. I'm Deborah Williams, and I'm the founder of the Women's Association. I feel like what I've created today is very out of character for me. The fact that I'm in a position now where I've created an organisation is just very different to the path I ever thought I would have gone down. But it was this sense of a burdening passion. It was me feeling like there was a greater need for change to exist. But it wasn't just appreciating that, it was understanding that I could have a part to play. When I started off my work, I did a dissertation for my first degree in business management. My course title was Women in Leadership and How Far They've Come. And I wanted to do a whole piece that was supposed to initially be very inspirational and exciting. But when I started to look at literature and I started to look at articles, nothing supported this idea of women in leadership and how far they've come. In actual fact, there was an article at the time that said women in leadership positions are less than 10 years before. And so I spoke to different women, different positions of leadership. There was so many stories. One woman said when she wanted to go for partner, she was told by the kind of senior partner at the time that our company is not ready for a female partner. And I just thought to myself, like, how can this exist? And why don't we know about it? When I'm studying business management, there's more women than there are men. What is being done about it? The last interview I had, I'll never forget it because it is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today, was a woman who was in a senior position in a built environment organisation. We literally had the greatest interview I had. I literally was picking up my bag to go, and the idea was that we were both supposed to leave and she was going to walk me out to the exit, but she literally burst into tears. She spent the whole interview talking about how passionate she is about the built environment, but she's actually got another job in psychology because she said this is the highest that she feels she can get as a woman in her organisation. And she said, I work for one of the biggest. So if this is the best I can get at one of the biggest organisations, what is to say that if I go for a smaller company, I'm going to get any further as well? It was such a difficult realisation. Like, this is actually a very big problem that I've kind of stumbled upon. And I just thought, okay, how many more women are there like her experiencing things like this? What if I can create environments where they can share their story with more women and more girls like me so they can continue to feel empowered, and maybe through that they can feel like they can continue to go on. I felt really helpless that day because I couldn't give her something, or I couldn't do something that was a solution. I left that interview with this real heaviness on my shoulder of all these women's stories, and so I felt like I was responsible for doing something about it, and that's why I created the Women's Association. The root of the problem isn't easy. It's something that a lot of people shy away from. For a very long time, boards, leadership meetings, executive meetings looked like the same person sitting around the table. Over time, there's been a conversation of how can we diversify the room. So when it came to gender diversity in the workplace, there was a lot of conversations around you need to improve your representation. You need to start talking about statistics and what that looks like in leadership. So a lot of people focus on that. Let's go from 5% to 15%. When you start having the conversation of, okay, for that 15%, what is their experience like? You can open a whole can of worms that you don't actually feel comfortable to address. And it's that discomfort that makes people shy away from the ability to create real change. I've spoken to so many women who sit on boards, who sit in positions of leadership, that still don't feel like their voices are valued. They feel like they are the physical representation of diversity at the table, but their ideas are being kind of hijacked by their male counterparts. I would just love to live in a world where we could all just dream freely and there was no kind of limitation. There was no second thought of, this is what I want to do, but then this is what I have to do because this is my background or this is what's expected of me. If I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, and I lived in a world where inequalities didn't exist, imagine what I could be doing. And I thought about all the women that came before me and were doing work to fight for our rights. And if they didn't have to march the streets to get the right to vote, to get the right to be treated as human beings, what would they have accomplished and what would they have done? Like, there's just so much possibilities and so much that we could have even created as a society that I just feel we've missed out on because so many of us are spending our days fighting for equality and equity ultimately.